Hey everyone, this is Rocky from WeLearnChess.com, and just here with what I hope is a fun checkmating video today. I was looking through some old games by Mikhail Tal, always fun to do. You see tons of great tactics and checkmates and things like that. Great attacking chess. So I came across one game today, and it had a basic checkmating pattern in it that you don't get to see at top level too much, called Anastasia's mate. So if you have seen this before, still you might be interested to see the game because I'm going to show a Mikhail Tal game after this. But if you haven't seen it, then I'll just show the basic pattern first. So I just made this position up. Might be a bit silly, but I tried to make it sort of realistic if I could. So let's say it's black to move here, and black's knight is under attack twice here, and material's equal. So it looks like black has an interesting resource here just to play the knight back, and not only does it save the knight, but now it double attacks this rook. So it looks like a move that achieves both defense and offense at the same time. But this move actually loses immediately to this common mating pattern that we're going to see. So first, white can play this check. The knight can't be taken by any piece, and especially now because the knight has blocked off this rook. Of course, even if the knight wasn't there, black would have to sacrifice the queen to get that, but that might be black's only hope, actually. Okay, well, black only has one move here. And now white has this fun move, queen takes h7 check. Of course, the only legal move is to take this, and then if you have a rook anywhere on the board that can slide over to one of these files, or to the h file in this case, then you can deliver checkmate. And the fun part is that this knight holds the two escape squares for the king, and the king is also blocked in by his own pieces. So it takes sort of this blocking mechanism here, usually by pawns. Sometimes there's a piece or two. Depends on what the piece is, obviously, of course, if that could block a check. But yeah, the king here obviously has no escape route, so this is just mate. Just kind of fun. So usually the only way to stop this mate, if you've fallen into the pattern, or if your opponent's fallen into the pattern, is to sacrifice a piece. Sometimes, you know, if they can interpose. So for example here, let's see if we can make something up here. You know, if black had maybe a bishop, let's say, on this diagonal, and let's say the white rook was down on the third rank, then of course this wouldn't work because let's put this back here. Okay. So now if check, king moves, queen sacrifices, and rook comes over, then of course this could be taken. So you have to, oops, I put off the board there. So you do have to be careful. Sometimes also a piece can interpose here and it's protected. So maybe, for example, you know, if this pawn were here, something like this, and we had something like this where pieces were blocking. Sometimes the smothered mate still works, but in this case, obviously, a piece could just interpose here and is protected, and then the mating pattern is over and you just sacrifice your queen for nothing. So of course this is kind of a silly example, but you just have to watch out if there are ways for your opponent to stop the mate. But in the original case it was unstoppable. So kind of a fun mate where you see this pattern just of like king usually in its original position, a couple pawns here. Usually the rook is still here because what this rook does is it stops the king from coming this way on the initial knight check. So when this knight check comes, of course you have to open this h file first, which a lot of times is done with the queen sack, but also could be done with the rook. You know, with one of the two rooks and then the second rook delivering the mate. Sometimes that happens. I'll point you to some videos that show some other examples, which are kind of fun too. And then of course you just need a piece to come over here and deliver the mate. But this is the geometrical pattern where you'll get some mate like this, and the escape squares are covered. So, or even if the king, of course, had gone here, which it would be the case on the mate or something, then it just can't escape. So kind of a fun mate. I think I've been able to do it once or twice. It's hard to get somebody into it. You have to set up a few different pieces, but okay. So you can hear my dog in the background there. I think he's having some kind of, what's up, Tanner? Are you having some kind of doggy nightmare or something? It's always funny when they're like legs are flailing around and they're like dreaming of steaks or something. I don't know what dogs dream of. But yeah, so okay, let's take a look at the Mikhail Tal game, and it should be pretty fun. So I'll just put this on pause for a second while I get it set up. Okay, so now let's take a look at a game of Mikhail Tal's and this Anastasia mate that came up in his game. This game is, I just grabbed this from chessgames.com, which is, it's a nice site. If you haven't gone there, you can go through a lot of the games of well-known players, see, organize them by openings, and see how they played against different openings. It's not as comprehensive as some paid databases, obviously, but it's got a whole bunch of games, considering it's free. So it's fun to go out and check some games, go on the site and check out some games there. So okay, so this game was, it says on chessgames.com this is from 1975. Someone in the comments mentioned that it was from 74. It's against an anonymous player, so that suggests maybe it was some kind of simul or exhibition or something. And okay, so Tal's got the white pieces and he just played bishop g5, and his opponent decides to go in for some tactical complications and makes a couple mistakes and opens up the door for this mate in sort of a fun way. Okay, so let's take a look here. So his opponent decides to take this pawn, which seems a little bit tricky. This does lead to some tactical sequences here, and both players had to calculate different variations. So Tal takes this this bishop first, and now black has to decide. He can take this bishop here, obviously, and this knight could either take this bishop on d3 or it could take the knight on f3. So what he chooses to do is to take this knight, and actually the computer had suggested either on this move or the next move to try to get rid of this dangerous bishop on d3 because it's pointing towards this sensitive square, which can often end up being sort of a classic sacrifice square. The other problem with taking the knight instead of the bishop is that it allows Tal to develop another piece here, which he does with the rook by recapturing. And with such a great attacking player, sometimes helping him develop new pieces is a bit of a dangerous recipe here. So, okay, so Tal takes back and develops a piece. And black again had the choice here of either getting rid of this bishop or getting rid of this bishop. And he basically chose the wrong one, unfortunately. Earlier he could have played f6 too before all this sequence occurred. He probably would have been okay, just to sort of win a tempo on that bishop on the dark square diagonal. But okay, so this sequence happened now, and now this is interesting because it doesn't quite look like black can get this Anastasia's mate, because if you remember, the knight has to be on this square to cut off the escape routes for the king, and the queen's occupying that square now, so it's kind of funny how the knight would be able to get there. But Tal was a creative player and always found ways to gain tempi and to play tactically. So he starts out with this sacrifice, and as we've seen before, opening up this h-file is the first step in this Anastasia's mate, or one of the key steps in it. Okay, so black accepts the sacrifice, and now he's in this position where he does sort of have these squares to go to at the moment, and so white has to find a way to get in some checks, and if it's not going to be Anastasia's mate, he's got to find some other way to get in there. So you might want to try to pause your video and try to find how Tal is going to get his pieces into this sequence, because it looks pretty difficult. But it's fun exercise if you want to take a look. Okay, so I'm going to show the next sequence of moves here. And first he plays this check. Now, the king really can't come forward here. If it tries to come forward, there's going to be beaten a couple moves here with queen coming over, and then there's only one square here, and rook comes over, and that's mate. So it can't come forward. So certainly Tal had calculated that he was going to have to go back, and there's really only one square, so king goes back. And then this is the move that I think the opponent probably missed. Sure, he probably saw the idea of the rook coming over, but this next move is pretty fun. So the knight comes over and exploits the pin on this pawn, with the queen being unprotected, and also hits the queen at the same time. So the queen has to move, and there's not really many places for it to go. But was trying to stay here close to the defense of the king. But after queen h5, double exclam, now black really can't avoid mate at all. So, of course, if he tries to take the queen, then there's this intermezzo check, and now this is how the knight has gotten to this key square. And now once the king moves over to either here or here, it doesn't matter, then white is going to take, and we've got this sort of classic setup here with the Anastasia's mate. And the problem is that black can't even sacrifice the queen, like just taking the knight here, because then there's mate. I almost went to the wrong square, mate on h8. So that was just a brilliant sequence by Tal, and knowing his calculation skills, he probably saw the whole thing. But to be able to see this move, and then also to see this follow-up here with queen h5, which he probably had calculated, is pretty amazing. And it's pretty cool to see from way back here, when it looks impossible to get his knight onto this square, that he had figured out a way to do it. So pretty cool. He has this mating pattern has come up, not exactly in this way, but the Anastasia's mate has come up in a couple of his other games as well. So if you look around, you'll probably be able to find him, and if I see one online, I'll put a link up too. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, and take care, and happy Memorial Day to any of those who are celebrating.